I was like, hey girl, I don't need no words. I'm just trying to meet up.
Ew.
And you was like, okay, big boy.
That's so gross. It was a very short time period for me where
NFL football players, yep. Oh, we're not gonna talk about that?
I was a late bloomer.
That might be it. You didn't get all that attention when you was younger.
So I had to be funny.
So you had I feel like that's worse.
What you mean?
I'm your second boyfriend. You 35. The hell was you doing before me?
What you mean? And lights, camera, action. They rolling, baby.
All right, hey, welcome to the Unsingle podcast.
Welcome to the Unsingle podcast.
My name is Hamal. It's Jamal.
I'm Chantel.
Chantella.
Welcome back to episode 4.
It's episode 4?
This is 5.
Yes, this is 5. We've made it 5
Dang,
episodes.
this is episode 5.
Over a month.
Woo-hoo. Let's celebrate. Woo-hoo.
Okay, let's talk about what they want to talk about, because I know they want to talk about what
They want to talk about some things. I feel like this is the perfect topic for us to talk about. You have to start with your disclaimer.
Oh, my bad. I got a disclaimer for y'all. We are not licensed professionals, people. So we are just two people expressing and had a wonderful love story experience, and we just want to share it with the world. So
tell them a little bit about our love story. Very, very small. Give a summary.
You want me to give the summary?
A summary. Give me the cliff notes.
A haiku.
Give me a haiku.
Haiku. We saw, we loved, we conquered. That's the haiku.
That's beautiful.
Isn't that like how haikus are supposed to be?
I actually have no idea what a haiku is.
I might be saying it wrong. I think it's the Asian poem that's like 3 or 4.
That, you know what that is? That's onomatopoeia.
I said thing wrong. I'm bad. I'm my bad.
I don't know the difference. But for a little bit of our backstory.
Yes.
We both were previously engaged and broke off our engagements. We were both in our 30s. I was 31 when I broke off my engagement. And you were...
How old am I now?
37.
We've been together... I was 32-ish.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Are we doing the right math?
Oh,
I was 30 when I broke off my engagement.
And then we were 3 years before, so it was 5 years ago for me.
Oh, shoot.
So
well,
I was
yeah,
32-ish.
now.
I was 31, 32.
So we're both in our 30s. Took 3 years to heal.
3 years.
Then we both ended up on the same dating app. And we matched.
Yeah. And what I say? I was like, hey, girl, I don't need no words. I'm just trying to meet up.
Ew.
And you was like, okay, big boy.
That's so gross. Absolutely not. We did meet on a dating app. There were very few messages back and forth. We sent like maybe 4 messages back and forth.
Yeah.
Like, hey, what's up? And then you were probably, I think you immediately were like, I'm not.
Yeah,
I would prefer meeting.
I would just prefer meeting, get the energy and the vibes.
Yeah,
I'm not even gonna
in
sit here
person.
and like try to get to know you on that.
Yeah. And then he was like, are you free around New Year's? And I was like, no, I'm a busy lady.
Oh my gosh, she made up a lie that she was busy just because she wanted to seem desperate.
And it was the right call to make, ladies.
Oh my Lord, we probably would have had the same amount of fun time. Regardless, it was
anyways,
great.
yeah.
Our
So then you
first date
set up.
was great.
Yes, you set up. You were like, okay, cool. Let's do brunch this time, this place. Be there, be square, and then the rest was history.
The rest was history.
The reason I wanted to do that little little snippet of what our love story was.
Onomatopoeia.
The reason I wanted to do onomatopoeia is because we've had a lot of people who are interested in our story or who are in a similar situation where they are in their 30s, which for some reason is being considered later in life. They're in their 30s and they believe that it's so much harder to find love, that it's not as likely to find love, and that it's just a whole different ball game when you're in your 30s. So I wanted to talk about that. I wanted to give some hope to people.
Do you feel like it was hard for you to find love in your 30s? Or do you feel like it came to you? How do you feel about that?
I feel as though, I'm trying to stop saying like so much.
Oh gosh, it's okay. It is what it is.
So at first, when I became single in my 30s, I had no intentions of finding anybody else. I was just very much thinking I want to be to myself. I don't want to start another relationship. I'm good. Then when I did get to a place of feeling like I was ready, I did have that fear of feeling as though everybody was already taken.
Okay.
I had that thought that all the good ones are gone.
And
Everybody already married.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know if it's what I was currently experiencing versus just the expectation of life. Like in your 20s, mid-20s, most people were finding real serious relationships. And I had a lot of friends who were getting married already or in a serious relationship, thinking about having kids. And that process, it feels that starts in your mid-20s. So when you're in your 30s, it feels like people that are left are not desirable people, probably. And there probably are desirable ones, but your chances just feel lower.
Yeah.
I don't feel that I had a hard time with it, only because I got to a place where I wasn't looking for it. So there was a period of time that it got a little rough out there.
Got a little dicey.
It got a little dicey in the dating streets.
Yeah.
That was it was a very short time period for me where
NFL football players, yeah. Oh, we're not going to talk about that?
What do you want to talk about?
We're not going to talk about your date with that NFL football player you went out?
That's not what we're talking about.
My bad. That's for another episode.
But there was a period of time that it was feeling like this is not what I want.
Yeah.
I felt that not a lot of people were serious. I felt that the dating game had just changed, period. Because I was in a relationship for 10 years.
Yeah.
So I think that put a different lens on things too. I felt that I didn't know how to date. I was still discovering myself. So I had a lot of growth to do. And so by the time I did heal and grow and got to a place where I genuinely didn't care if I was in a relationship or not, that's when it got really easy. Because I didn't care. I didn't need anybody else.
Yeah, no validation.
And so whatever, when people came to me or prospects that I just knew weren't it, I was good with just letting it go. And then I think because I was in a healthier place in my life, it attracted the right person to me.
Yeah. I like that.
You.
Me.
I
mean, you know what? Babe?
It's a song.
Okay, yeah. I think it's
okay. I was like, I think that's a song, but I don't know if you're having a stroke.
You know what, babe?
But did you feel the same way? Because you had a similar...
Yeah, my journey was a lot different than yours. You were with someone for 10 years. I was off and on, in and out of either relationships or... I basically was in a relationship with 3 girls, not at the same time. 3 girls back to back to back within a 5 to 6 year span. And then I took a lot of time off because I was just like, I was hurt. One of the girls cheated on me. And then the other girl after that, she just was a very strong, trustworthy person. I'm not saying she lied or did anything crazy, but she was very sneaky. She was a Taurus. No hatred towards Tauruses, but I know how you feel about them.
No hatred, but I don't.
Yeah, I know how you feel about them. Hey. But I will say that dating in my 30s, I won't say, I guess for a man, and I say for a man because I didn't feel the pressure as much. And that might be a biological thing. I know how women have, obviously, eggs.
I can agree. There's a different pressure for women.
Yeah, I didn't feel the pressure. But I more was definitely like it was weird because in your 30s, you are more mature. Right? You know more of yourself. You know more of what you want. Like, there's not much that you're like, it's hard for people to tell you any different. And I think that's why it's harder to date, because you try to date someone who's sure of themselves as well as you being sure of yourself. And sometimes ego can get involved. But you have to learn yourself to the point to where you resolve that ego and allow yourself to be able to date and change and do those certain things. I don't know if that, me explaining that makes sense to you. Regardless, I did a lot of work on myself, and because I did the work on myself, my ego dropped, right? And I started to learn about having self-worth and self-value to the point to where I knew that I was good enough for me, right? I didn't have to like focus and worry about anybody else making me happy. I made myself happy. And at that point, which is the same point you have reached, I was like, the right person just dropped in front of me. But I was like you. I was dating, but I don't know why I would keep dating these really young, like younger girls.
You had some kind of complex.
I don't know what it was. I wasn't trying to, but like I would get along heavily with them. But they would be like 6 or 7 years younger than me. And I'm like, that's like, I think more mature than my age. And because of that, like I need someone that's like around my same age group, I think. And that's what worked for me. But overall, like it is tougher, but I think it's just because people are more
already
like,
set in their ways.
Yeah, they're set in their ways. You know, they don't like the change. You've already obviously been through some kind of hardship up until that point. So you've learned who you are. And I think it takes people doing real work and understanding and allowing themselves to like heal, to be able to like be open to something. You know?
I do think you made a good point though. For women, there is a different type of pressure that I don't know, I can't even say we put on ourselves, because it is a real thing. Because I had that thought when I was single and being in my mid-30s before I met you, of thinking like, damn, I do want kids. I've always wanted kids. But if I'm single and I'm happy being single,
then how am I ever
gonna have kids?
Yeah.
So I quite literally was looking into ways to have a family without having a man.
Yeah. I know the thought that always comes into females' minds when they hit not necessarily mid-30s, but it's not even early 30s. It's like that mid 30s. So like between 33, 34, 35. Yeah, I'd be like, I'm gonna freeze my eggs. Or
that is what I looked into at 33 years old.
I'm gonna get a sperm donor.
Yes.
Like, y'all really look into that kind of. That's why I say it's like a biological thing. I think for most, is your time clock. It's like a time.
I mean,
clock.
it's real.
Yeah,
it's
real. Not to say that women can't have kids beyond that.
No,
age,
I mean, we're seeing a lot more stories
risk.
now where people like women be in their 50s having kids, but there is a risk involved in that. So that's a legitimate feeling, and I think the issue with that is, I think it leads a lot of people to settle because you feel that you don't have time. So now you have no choice but to be like, the first person that's into me, I'm gonna just make this work.
Make it work.
Because I want a family and I want kids and I want all these things, and I don't know how many more chances I'm gonna have to get that.
And not to call anybody out, but you had a friend like in a similar situation like that, right? Yeah, they were in a similar situation. She was a little bit older than me, and we actually ended up single at the same time. And she was with, I think she was on a dating app as well, and she ended up with this guy who was clearly not good for her.
Because she's such an amazing person. She's
clearly, but I think that attributes to. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm gonna let you finish so I can say my line, which makes more sense.
It was really, I really hated seeing it because it felt as though a man came in and kind of not even poured into her or said all the right things, but just did enough to make her feel like I can make this work. And she deserved better. But at the time, I'm sure, because I know she's always said how much she's wanted kids. And she, like I said, she was older than me at the time. So it's hard to fight that. It's hard to see the other side of that, or it's hard to be able to say nah, I'm gonna let this person go when you see that this is potential for the one thing that I want.
Yeah.
So she ended up with this guy that just was a really shitty person, to be quite frank. But But yeah, you can go ahead. What were you about to say?
I think it's two things. I think she compromised her identity, and then it's about loving yourself. Because I know in that there's some things that were discussed, which I won't put anybody's business out there, that like indicated that she just didn't have like self-value. Like she didn't value herself enough to be, because when you value yourself as an individual, like at some point you set boundaries and you don't allow people to take advantage of you or people to do certain things. So I think it was a combination of those two things. Like, damn, I want kids. Well, I guess I'll have to accept. I'll accept this.
And it's easy to be in that place too, especially coming out of a relationship. Like when you end a relationship and you're feeling in a really vulnerable place, it's hard to, because I had a moment like that too, where my own self-worth, where I was questioning myself, where I was feeling as though, I don't know, I had a lot of self-deprecating thoughts, feeling like I wasn't good enough, feeling as though like, because I wasn't seeing any real substance coming in my life from other people. I felt I had a moment where I needed validation, for sure. Because this was my first time being single in 10 years and not having a companion and feeling as though I needed that type of attention or that type of love. So I think, and just to say this, that the friend that I was talking about, they ended up breaking up, and she's in a much better, healthier place now, where she does have that feeling of self-worth and value and like wanting to pour into herself, and that's
beautiful.
It's so beautiful, and I hate sounding cliche, but that's literally the one thing you need to do as far as
absolutely
healing and trying to find a person. It's not about finding a person. It has to be finding yourself. It has to be. And it sounds so cliche. I hate sounding
so
like one of those people that's like, it's about self-love and but I'm telling you,
you will find that person the moment you really do the work on yourself.
Because I was the one I had all my family and friends were trying to be so positive and like telling me, oh, like as soon as you stop looking, you'll find it. I bet it's gonna happen really fast. And I was so just not trying to hear that. I'm like, yo,
you're like, bitch.
Yeah, literally. I'm like, I don't believe you, and I don't care. Like I was both of those things. I was like,
I'm single. So
I'm single, and I'm. Yes. And it wasn't until I truly was at that point where I was happy with myself and like knew my own value and knew that I absolutely refused to settle for anybody else. I'm like, if I can do all these things for myself, why would I give myself to somebody who can't elevate or meet me there? I'm not doing it. I won't do it. And I'm fine with that. I'm happy with that. But it took me being like, I would take myself on dates. I would go, and as an introvert, I used to never go out. I had the hardest time going out and talking to people, making conversations. I went from that to taking myself on dates, becoming best friends with the bartender or just random people there. Like that just became my, like, I transformed. I became a whole new person and just I felt like I enjoyed my own presence. I got to a point where I enjoyed my own company.
Laughing at your own jokes.
Oh, for sure. I would have conversations with myself. Oh, I still have conversations with myself. It's so funny. I'm so funny. But when I get that's literally when I found you. When I got to that point.
And I think too, another factor that's really important that people don't talk about too, is like basically the universe is gonna keep giving you the same things until you figure it out. Like you figure it out. Like I didn't find you until I started saying no to people that I used to say yes to.
What do you mean?
So like I told you, we talked about this actually earlier today. Like I had a bad habit of like, if a girl liked me, I just automatically liked her. Like there was no vetting, there was no, let me see if she's interesting. Let me see if she has a personality. Is that a guy thing?
Jordan's nodding his head.
I don't know. It might be a guy thing. I don't know. I know as a kid, I wasn't popular.
He's like, yep, I've been there.
The hoes wasn't hollering at me. The nerds wasn't hollering at me. The whatever, anything in between that was not hollering at me. So like, we don't get like. I won't say a lot of men don't get attention. I just know in my case, specifically, I didn't get a lot of attention when I was younger. So growing up, I used to, any girl that would come my way and be like, I like you or you're cute or whatever, like she would have to like completely gross me out in order for me to like not give her a chance, at least a chance. I'm not saying like I'm messing with every girl, but like at least a chance. So that was like my very first karmic cycle that I was going through, to where I had to learn how to not go through it anymore. And when I started doing therapy, basically what I learned in therapy, because I was like, I'm tired of going through the same thing. But in therapy, I started to learn who I was a lot more, right? And like a friend of mine had said that, hey, you're going through a karmic cycle. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, and that's what made me really dive deep and started learning more about myself. I'm like, karmic cycle. I'm like, okay, so like, what am I seeing in these people that aren't providing me what I'm looking for? Right? And the first karmic cycle was the girls that like me. If they just said they like me or they're into me or they thought I was hot, automatically I just give them a chance and try to talk to them. And like, I wouldn't vet them out and be like, no, that's not really what I want. You do these things or study their habits, right? Because I'm very habitual.
Yes.
And then, you know, I guess I got a couple more tests to really understand, like, okay, oh, so I'm looking for this.
To understand what you were actually looking for in the midst of, like, why you kept going through that cycle.
Exactly. Like, I was like, okay, I got this test. This didn't work out. I saw, like, someone else that literally replaced themselves. Because you're used to looking for a certain thing based off of your upbringing. And based off of maybe your relationship with your parents, right? So I was like, I'm looking for this thing. And then a different person came that was what I used to talk to. And I started to realize, oh, these patterns are the same. Oh, this girl's just like this. Oh, she's pretty, she looks good, but her personality's ass. Or like she's not like the greatest with kids or two kids. She's kind of ghetto. Like, you know, I could say it just like plain and simple, right? I didn't grow up like that, right? We didn't grow up with money, but like we wasn't also like ghetto or anything like that. Like I still grew up in a decent area in the neighborhood, and I don't want my kids to be like this way. So I say that to say, once I started learning what I didn't want, what I did want was easier to find. Like, it was easier to be like I knew my ultimate test was, like, it was a girl who like basically was trying to talk to me, and like, she's a really good looking girl, but I was just like, I'm just not attracted to you. Like, because your personality. And I was like, dang, you were like literally the girl I would always go for. But like,
that's when it clicked for you.
That's when it clicked. I was like, nah. Like, we hung out one time and I was just like, this ain't it, Skip. Skip, this ain't it. I just knew it. Like, I was like, Skip, Skip. Because in my mind, I like, bro, you gotta understand, and Jordan could attest to this. I don't know yet. Jordan's young.
He's a different genre.
So I don't know if he hit this point yet in life.
He's a different genre.
When the girl is gorgeous and pretty, it's 20 times more headache. Now hold on, because you fine too. Don't do that. But you a different kind of fine. Like I said, you the girl next door fine. There's a difference in both of them. Look at you.
I feel like you're gonna say you fine in your personality.
No. We have this talk all the time.
Your personality is fine.
We always have this talk because it's so hard to describe this without essentially hurting Shan's feelings. Because like when I say like they drop dead gorgeous, it's almost like saying that Shan's not.
Yeah.
No, that's not the case.
I'm not a bad bitch.
Baby, you are everything in a bag of chips. All right, you are.
That's such an 80s compliment.
Oh my gosh.
All that in a bag of chips, baby.
The thing about Shan is that I'm extremely a lot more attracted to your personality than your looks. I know you probably don't want to hear that.
Yeah, that sounds really mean.
But those are the ones that we marry, right? There's girls that, as a man, that look amazing, that are fine. Like, damn, you look good. But that's it. A mature man's gonna automatically categorize that as like a fun time. Like, yeah, that's cool. I can mess with that, but like, I can't really see it raising kids. And then all the time, most of the time too, we don't want the attention. I'm not trying to have no girl super modeled out, and then every time I go outside, I got John Wick fighting for your life. Like, I need a girl who like can downplay it and then can put it on, right? And I feel like you have both. Like, you, for the most part, you kind of be like, you like me, like
I be having to fight you to get dressed up.
Yeah, because
you always want me in like sweatpants, and
I'd rather fight you than fight other niggas.
Oh my god.
I'd rather fight you than fight all 50-11 niggas out there. This Atlanta, bro.
That's nuts.
This Atlanta.
That's insane.
I'm trying to tell you the truth, and you ain't trying to accept it. Fight you, or fight DeAndre, Tevin,
Is that a...
and Saquon.
Okay, you're making up names.
I'm just saying.
All right.
I'm not trying to fight them.
Okay.
I ain't got time.
I understand.
I ain't got time to one of them be like, hey girl, or touch you, and then I gotta. I ain't trying to do all of that.
Is that how you fight?
You ain't seen it. You ain't never gonna see it.
Thank goodness. I will stay in my sweatpants and no makeup.
Please. Unless we go into the Oscars or something where you gotta do your thing.
And courtside.
Or go on a date or courtside. Mm-hmm. I'm cool with that. I'll take some sacrifice.
Okay.
But I say that to say, you got the mesh of both. I'm most attracted to your personality, and that's why I married you. Girls who be, like I said, we work in the industry, or I've been working in the industry where I have to look for like really hot looking supermodel-esque girls. And then you find them and you meet them and you realize, not all of them, I won't say it, it's not a blanket statement, but in my experience, I realized that those type of girls, they probably got attention most of their life. And because of that, they don't know how to have the humble personality of being a solid, like full, complete person.
That makes sense. I was a late bloomer.
That might be it. You didn't get all that attention when you was younger.
So I had to be funny.
So you had She said
I had to be funny. I had to. You ain't got to laugh that hard, Jordan. I had to be funny. I wouldn't get no attention.
That's what I'm saying. You weren't getting no attention
until college, literally.
Bro, when a person
the first person that I wasn't a karmic cycle because it only happened once, but the first person that did like me, I turned to my boyfriend and dated him for 10 years.
Damn.
That was my only boyfriend I ever had.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And then we broke up 10 years later, and now I'm with you. So that's my dating.
I feel like that's worse.
What you mean?
I feel like that's worse.
What you mean?
I'm your second boyfriend. You 35. The hell was you doing before me?
What you mean?
You could at least hold for 1 year.
What? No. That's all it took. That's all it took. That's all I needed.
I'm two boyfriends.
No, I learned everything I needed to learn.
Oh,
my first trial.
Lord.
Said second time's a charm.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, I was a late bloomer. Nobody liked me.
That's so funny.
I was just very awkward. And then I also feel like, because I'm originally from New York, and so New York standard of beauty is different than Georgia's standard of beauty, for sure.
Yeah.
So I feel that when I was in New York, it was still weird because I was kind of the only black girl when I lived there.
That makes a difference.
Yeah, but like physically, I was attractive. But then when I came to Georgia, it's like you got to be thick, you got to be and so I was just like really skinny and tall.
Yeah,
and I got long legs and long arms, so I'm a little bit. I had to grow into my body.
Yeah.
So I definitely was, it wasn't until later in life that I got like attention from guys.
Yeah.
And then when that happened, I was in college and I didn't know what to do.
Yeah. I mean, it really does make a difference though. If you don't get, like as a woman, if you don't get attention when you're younger, like, and you feel like you're not like attractive or you're not getting attention, like those women do grow up to be more resourceful and they learn how to attract men, if they are into men, learn how to attract men in different ways outside of beauty. And those seem to be more solid women, in my opinion, like more solid girls that you settle down and marry. And some of them grow into the beauty and then others, but that's still not a blanket statement to say all girls who got attention and was bad when they're younger aren't good women. It's not to say that. It's just they may need more humbling experiences when they get older. They have a different experience
of life,
yeah,
for sure.
To be able to adjust. Because there were some bad girls. There's girls that were really hot in high school or whatever, early college, and now I wouldn't even look that way.
So do you feel that you have to approach dating differently in your 30s versus 20s? Is the approach completely different?
Yeah. In the 20s, you got time.
So you can kind of just play around.
I wouldn't say necessarily play around. You can just take your time within the relationship if that's what you want. Like I don't like for us, we met and
we were
like,
intentional. Yeah, that's
everything
true.
we're doing is like, all right, well, we gotta.
That's true.
You're just getting,
it's almost like in your 20s when you would go on dates. It felt that like don't ask the serious questions.
Yeah,
like just take your time and just chill, and however information comes, it comes.
Look at your brother-in-law and your sister. Like they met in their 20s in college, and they taking their time.
Yeah.
And now they're in their 30s or getting to the 30s, and now it's just like, okay, now we can get lit. Like that's how I would approach it.
In your 20s, but in your 30s, first date,
I think you got to be a lot more intentional.
Yeah, it's serious questions on the first date.
Yeah, I mean, if it's early 30s, yes, like this is on my mind. This is what I'm pushing towards. You know, it's not like let's be together for 10 years and then make a decision, or 15 years in your 30s. You got in a relationship when you were in early 20s.
No.
So I think you have to be more intentional in your 30s.
Do you feel that there are things that you settle on in your 30s?
As long as it doesn't, I think it is okay. It is okay to settle as long as it doesn't compromise your identity.
Correct. Yes.
If it does not compromise your identity, it is okay to settle on things. Because you're not going to be, I'm not, like there are things I do that you don't like, and vice versa. Like you're not going to find.
What I do, you what?
Right, here we go.
What?
Here we go. Here we go.
You want to put our business out there? Tell the people what you hate about me.
You got me on the podcast. I'm on the podcast with you. Not the other way around. Put no business out there.
I do think there are things you have to settle. Well, settle is a different. I do agree that it has to be
compromise.
Yeah. Because for me, I think the things that I would, I guess, consider settling on was I went from, not wanting a man with kids versus, okay, I'm in my 30s now. I don't want anybody younger. And probably most men above the age of 35 probably going to have a kid. So that became a new, like, okay, I'm open to a man that has kids, but let's put some parameters on that.
Yeah.
They got to be one kid.
Yeah.
They can't be under the age of 3.
They got to be 40.
Yeah. Like that was a new set of standards that I had to, that I was willing to be, more open to. So I think it's things like that. But as far as the person, what kind of person, the caliber of person, I don't think you should settle on.
Yeah, I agree. And I think overall we all kind of want the same things. Like for me personally, I mean, mine is more personal to like my upbringing, but like obviously I want a woman that takes care of the home. Like, my goal is like to make sure she doesn't have to work if she doesn't want to. Why? Because like that's how my mom was. She was in a situation where like her man took care of her, not my dad, but someone else, but her stepdad took care of her, and she didn't have to work, and she took care of home, and like I want that situation.
Right.
But I think overall we kind of just want someone that's like, as a woman, I can't tell you what you want, but for the most part, what I see a commonality is like a man with integrity, willing to provide, willing to like profess. Which is like, hey, like you're my woman, you're my wife. That's what that means, and protect. And I think if a guy provides all of those things, I think everything else is a bonus.
Yeah.
Right. Like if you guys have a very similar personality, like cool, that works. Like me and you, our personalities are very similar. You're goofy, I'm goofy. We laugh about everything together, and I think that's just a bonus on top of the other things, right? So for men, like a lot of men want loyalty, take care of the home, like, and a partner. Then we want peace. A lot of us want peace, like a peace and a partner. Like if I can get those two things where I come to you with ideas and you don't like shut them down, you're more like, I'm with you, I'm going to stand behind you, like allow us to lead in a lot of ways. And that's all we really want at the end of the day. Yeah. So I think if you, even if you're in if you are in your 30s, I think you should make those a priority and then be willing to settle for everything outside of that.
I think I'm sorry, go ahead and finish your thought.
I was going to say, because like getting married, being with someone is a business.
Yeah.
I don't think people realize that. Like, I'm in business with you. Like, I had to come to the conclusion that like we got married and now everything that I've worked for my whole life, you can get half of. Right? Because we didn't do no prenup. We talked about it, but we didn't do one.
Oh, I thought you had forgot.
Jordan, you might have to get a prenup. You might have to get one. I didn't get one. I'm not saying I'm dumb or smart.
Don't do as I do. Do as I say.
Don't do what I do. Do as I say. Hopefully, wait, your lady don't see this. Never mind. I'm not saying you need to get a prenup. I'm just saying I came to the realization that everything I worked for, which I was working so hard for myself, now is ours. Like everything. So like, I have to go into it with the business mind state and then allow myself to just personally let go of those things and just trust. And that's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Trusting you enough to know that you can let yourself trust that person. I mean, you do that by vetting them out. You got to vet people out to understand, like, is this my person? Not just go with feelings, but like, it's a balance of both. Like, if this feels right, but also they are doing the right things. They're doing the intangibles. Bam, this person is no longer doing these things. All right, what's wrong? Are you okay? Like, are these things happening because something happened in your life? Oh, no, it didn't. Oh, you're just changing? Okay, am I willing to deal with these changes? Because people will change.
Yes.
Like, we're not going to be the same people we are in 10 years. So I have to, like, understand that and grow with you and appreciate you for all the entirety of who you are.
Yeah.
So
I love that.
Yeah.
I was thinking about in like when we're talking about the things that change in your, I don't even know if this is like in your 30s type thing, but I know something I was intentional about while I was single and open to dating was I did become very aware of what I wanted and what I didn't want. And in knowing what I wanted in a man, I knew there were certain things I had to change within myself. Because I've always, for example, have been very independent, and I knew I wanted a man who was a leader, not controlling, but a leader. And so I knew that I had to be able to allow somebody to lead me. I had to let go of my independence and give somebody a chance to like lead me instead of just shutting things down or always being like, oh, I got this, I could do it by myself, I could do, because I was always that person. I was the first person offering to do whatever. I don't need your help to do this. Oh no, I would offer to pay for dates and like little things like that. Like I have to allow a man to be a man. So that was one thing I wanted, like things like that I wanted to work on. If I knew I wanted somebody that was a protector and a provider, because my previous relationship wasn't like that. It was very much like I was still a very independent person. It was like we were two independent people just together, which there's nothing wrong with that. But coming out of that, I was like, I didn't like it.
Yeah.
So there were things I knew I wanted to be able to improve upon. I wanted to cook better. I wanted to know how to take care of a home and take care of myself and things like that I worked on intentionally with the thought process that if I want a man to do these things, there's things I have to do and that as a pairing would make sense.
Yes.
Things I have to do in conjunction with that.
Yeah.
Things that if they're an entrepreneur, I want to be a help. I want to be able to multiply and be an asset to somebody, as well as being, and have my own thing, like taking care of myself mentally and physically and having my own hobbies and things that I'm striving for, but I'm a complement to somebody.
Yeah.
So those were things that I worked on as a single person and knowing what I was looking for. So I think that goes with the intentionality that you're talking about.
Yeah. Yes. Like, I think it is important. It's very important to like work on those things, discovering. It's really about awareness and communication. That's strongly the top two topics in relationships that people don't really have a conversation about. If you can perfect your awareness and perfect your communication, your relationship will be amazing. When I say awareness of yourself, understanding what you're doing in situation, understanding how you are towards your person, your spouse. A lot of people don't have that. They don't realize that by doing this, it makes this person upset. Or even doing this may not be a bad thing, but understanding that made them upset, and then trying to encourage them to understand why they feel like why they are upset, right? So if your awareness and your communication is 100%, I mean, for the most part, your relationship will be fine. I'm aware of, if you're aware of yourself and what you do, what you're doing to affect other people as well as yourself, and then communicating, being able to have the ability to just say.
Communication is the biggest.
Bro, it's
and that's
crazy.
The hardest thing for some reason. For you, you're an amazing communicator.
Well, thank you.
You've taught me so much about communication, and you make it look so easy. And I see how you do it and how it saves us so much trouble in the long run. You won't allow me to be upset. Like, you'll give me time. We're at a place now because we had to find a little balance. Because at first, like, whenever I was upset or annoyed, you were very much like on top of it. Like, what's going on? Talk to me. But and I was at the opposite. But in the beginning, I was at the opposite, where I would shut down. Then we got to some place where we met in the middle, where you understood that I need time to process, and I understood that I need to process my feelings so that I do talk to you. It can't be just a shut down and leave it alone. I have to talk to you, and that has saved us so much trouble.
Yeah.
That's why we never argue.
Yeah, because we be communicating. And it's like, even times where I'm like, damn, I shouldn't. I like it that we always come together and it's like, I'm sorry. You're like, no, I'm sorry. We
both are very, we hold ourselves accountable.
Bro, I used to be in relationships to where like I hated when I would apologize for a situation.
Another person.
And another person would never like apologize. Like, it used to irk me because it's like, yes, it might be one person's fault, but like you still, like, it just softens the blow of the conversation. Like, you know what, I'm sorry. Even though it's like, if it's your fault, like, you know, I'm sorry too. I could have been better.
What was the thing the other day that we were...
When we were traveling to Vegas, the Vegas thing?
No, there was something that I just remember us having. Oh, we were discussing something about we were having a meeting. With other people, and during the like, you and I had a discussion prior to the meeting and then during the meeting, you were expressing, you know, that you were
kind of like come in and like undermine me a little bit.
And so after the call, like, you let me know that how that made you feel, and you were upset about it.
Yeah.
And then we gave it a couple minutes.
Yeah.
And we both came back and
talked about it.
But like, both apologized. Like, you were like. You said, I'm sorry for getting upset, or do you remember what you said?
Yeah, I was just, it was like my energy behind getting upset. And I didn't yell at you or lash out, but like, I know my energy towards you was like, you could feel like, damn, he's mad. And like, it's okay to have emotions and feelings, but like, I don't want it to come off in a way that's like, I just don't like you feeling anger from me. Or, you know, like, because I understand I'm frustrated, but it's like, learn how to be in more control.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let that anger like let out in different ways, and then come and have a conversation with you. Yeah. I feel like it was very apparent that I was really mad at you.
Yeah, but you weren't taking back what you said. Like, you still felt the words that you said, you still meant. And I understood that. You were just apologizing for how you expressed it.
Yeah, the way I expressed it.
And then in return, I apologize to you as well for making, because I understand impact versus intent. And so even though I understood what you were upset about, and I understood that it probably, me undermining you during that call probably made you feel like I didn't have your back. And amongst other things, like maybe that I didn't trust you to make the decision that you were making in that call, and all these other things. And I hated feeling that way. I hated feeling like I made you feel that way, even though it wasn't my intent. In the call, when it happened, my intention was to clarify or to have a better understanding, or because I thought it was something different and So it wasn't, I didn't mean to come off that way. But I was able to understand that what I said and how I handled it had a certain impact on you, and that I didn't like that. And from there, we were able to discuss that, and then have a solution at the end.
Yeah.
Like next time, if something like that happens, let's wait until it's just us, and we can better discuss it instead of, so it doesn't lead to where I still get my clarification without you feeling like I'm cutting you. You know.
Yeah. And what was that? Awareness. Right? Literally, that's what you just explained. I had the awareness to understand that I made you feel this way, right? And then you communicated, and then we resolved the situation. It's best conflict resolution. So, you literally just explained it.
And that's how you avoid arguments.
That's how you avoid it. Awareness. And if you don't have the awareness, go learn more about yourself.
Yeah.
That's literally how you do it. You just go get therapy or whatever. I am a strong advocate for therapy, so I'm very biased. But I do think it's a great tool to learn more about yourself and what triggers you. And the more you learn about yourself, the more awareness you have, the more you can look at yourself from other people's lenses or understand how people look at you. And then you can turn around and then communicate your feelings and set boundaries in the correct kind of way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
I don't know. I need to do a better time of keeping track with these episodes.
Yeah, I think this sounds like we're coming to an end.
Yeah, I think that's a great place to.
This is a good little spot.
Stop.
Yeah, it's a good little.
Yeah, so that was a good little combo. I liked giving that little example of conflict resolution.
Oh, how we did, I think.
Yeah.
And we don't have those often.
We really
I
don't.
think that was our first time of me getting like, rawr, reptar.
We really don't.
I didn't even yell at you. That's
You
the
didn't.
funniest thing.
It's so
I was just
funny.
very angry.
Because I feel like anybody outside looking in, they would be like, that was not an argument.
Yeah.
We've never had a situation where we've raised our voice at each other and even then, like the conversation that we just, like that example, that I can count on one hand.
Man, literally,
not
that's
even
the only
a full
time I
hand.
think that's ever happened.
Yeah.
It's been, I think, twice where I've gotten very upset. But I think the first time it was more like a disappointment upset. It wasn't like an angry upset.
If I'm thinking about the same thing that you're thinking about, I feel like it was a lot more going on that didn't really have directly to do with me.
I don't remember specifically the situation.
Yeah, but in general, that's just how we address stuff before it even gets to a point. If it is,
for the most part.
I don't know. Maybe we are just too much of the same person that we don't have much.
I just think we did the work. That's all I think it is. I don't think it's anything outside of that.
We're
and
willing
I think
to
we have to continue to do the work to make sure.
Oh, for sure, it's a continuous thing.
Yeah,
it's a continuous
it never stops.
Because even when I thought I was healed and good.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
You were like, I thought I had everything figured out.
Because I thought my communication was on point before I met you. Like, I was like, oh, my 3 years off that I took healing and working on myself, like, I'm good. All the people that have come into my life, I'll tell them exactly how I feel and da-da-da-da. So I did think my communication had gotten better. But I realized it was because I probably didn't care as much about those people, if that makes sense. And I just, like people that I just started dating, like I would be fine telling them exactly what I don't like, exactly whatever, because I guess I probably wasn't scared of losing them or scared of being vulnerable. But then when I got with you and it was more serious, like that fear kind of came back where I would kind of shut down again. So that was a little tricky.
A little trickle.
A little trickle. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. We're on the Patreon, on the YouTube. You can check us out on TikTok if it's still around when this episode comes out. Instagram. Oh, and we are now on Spotify. So if you got Spotify, you could just press play and listen on your drive to work or whatever. And make sure you leave a comment, drop a comment, your thoughts on what we talked about, dating in your 30s, and we'll read them all. We read all the comments.
We read all the comments.
We'll see you on the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.